Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. Saka here with another episode of NASCAR Racing 2003 season. We are doing the 2000 mod at Pocono, continuing our championship drive. We are here behind the 8 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Just to my inside is the 28 Texaco Haviland Ford, driven by Brandon. We qualified in the middle of the pack, as you can see, 19th and 20th. This race is 20 laps and 10 laps in the gas tank, so if we are a little bit cheeky, we can make this on one stop. We believe the AI is going to try a 2-stop race, so we will see how the race unfolds, and that will adjust our strategy accordingly. Pace car is in, ready for the drop, and there's the green flag. We are underway. Not a very good start for us. The longest straightaway in NASCAR right here, going into turn 1 at Pocono. We will stay sort of in the top groove, make our way down to the bottom. Pocono has 3 distinct corners, 3 distinct radius, 3 distinct bankings, so the car is not going to be perfect on any end of the racetrack. Usually teams set up for one corner, usually turn 3, because that's where you have to get on the power and you get that drive onto that big long straightaway. This turn here, turn 2, is modeled after Indianapolis. That's my favorite turn of this racetrack, as Indy is one of my favorite racetracks to drive on. Brandon is making a move to the inside there under Dale Jr. We'll see if we can follow him. Braking into turn 3 is very treacherous. It's pretty flat, and you get going into the turn, and the car will want to push out and wash to the high side, so we have to anticipate that as we get going. Getting a great pull off of Dale Earnhardt Jr. here into the red line. Let's look under him, see what we've got for him. We can sneak right up to the back bumper of Brandon, try to hold it down to the bottom and get good drive off under Dale Jr. A lot of wheel into this race car, and with 4X tire wear and fuel consumption, the tires fall off fairly quickly at Pocono. You've got about 2 to 3 good laps, and then your car will really start pushing. Through turn 2, nice and easy. Brandon a little loose, back to the gas there. Dale Jr. pressuring us in the rear view mirror. We have to make sure that he doesn't get the drop on us into turn 3. The AI really likes to dive bomb right here. They get really good drive in, but where Brandon and I excel is our drive off right here. Let's see if we can get a pull. Everyone in front of us pretty much single file now. As it stands, we will be doing a 2-stop strategy for Pocono. We want to pit on lap 7 and lap 14 to try to split the race in the third. So we're looking for 14 laps to go, and that's where we're going to make our first pit stop. A lot of wheel pushing up into the wall. Already the car is not behaving as it did at the start of the race, and I have to be mindful of Dale Jr. behind me. Being single file isn't bad here at Pocono, though. These turns are pretty treacherous when you are under other cars, so the straightaways are where we're going to be making our money. We just need to make sure we're close enough on turn exit to do such things as these. Brandon washes up. He has no brakes, it seems, going into turn 3. We'll catch up to Brandon off turn 3, and we can get a good drive off here on the straightaway. Very long. It gives you a lot of time to think about that turn that you just messed up going into turn 1. A lot of speed here, and you can see the leaders really starting to stretch out. This is about as fast as we are, although these cars in front of us going too wide, we'll be able to catch them much quicker than if they were single file. Looks like the 25 car there under the 94 of Bill Elliott. Let's see if we can get a good entry into turn 2, and we will indeed. Nice and easy through Indianapolis here and off the turn. Down into turn 3, this is the shortest straightaway of the racetrack, and not a whole lot of speed carrying in, and you really have to, oh, there we go. Well, I messed up the braking. We'll let Dale Jr. go by. Really no one behind me at this point to really pressure, so we'll give that one to Jr. and let these guys sort of figure their lives out down the straightaway. We are starting to run a little hot on the engine, but that goes away down into turn 1 each time as we are off the gas. So ideally this is the perfect amount of front tape that we can put on the engine. It heats up to the point where it's in dangerous levels and then gets back to a manageable level. Although the longer we run, the hotter this engine stays. But we're 2 laps away from pit stop, so our engine can cool effectively during our 4-tire change, and this will definitely be a 4-tire stop for us when we get up to it. Yeah, looks like these guys are fighting amongst themselves, and their tires may actually start to go away now. Junior looking to the inside of the 10 of Johnny Benson. Let's see if we can sort of diamond this corner off Bristol style. We drive in a little bit high, but then we can point the car down to the apex and drive the whole way through. That'll help our straightaway speed, which is what we need right here. Getting a good pull off of Dale Jr. now. We'll roll out of the gas a little bit early and see where Junior goes. We don't want to stick our nose in the middle of these battles. We want to sort of take advantage of what Junior lets us, and a good drive here will get him on the straightaway, get that pull from the 25 of Jerry Nadeau, and maybe, just maybe, we'll be able to get under the 10 of Johnny Benson. Let's be nice and easy. The tunnel turn is very slick, and we will complete that pass there and settle in behind the 25. Now, next time around, we're going to be looking for pit stops, and we need to be cautious of any AI cars that may be trying to do the 3-stop strategy as well. Looks like cars may be on the bottom, but no pitters this time. So next time around, we're going to have to be very mindful of anyone coming to pit road. But as you can see, it looks like we can get pretty good drive off on these cars in front of us. They might have used up their tires racing amongst themselves, so we're going to take advantage of that as best we can, following the number 10 of Johnny Benson under the 25 of Jerry Nadeau, and see if we can get a good run down Long Pond. They call this the Long Pond Straight. I'm sure it has some geographical reasoning. I think Long Pond is actually to that side of the racetrack. That's why they call it the Long Pond Straight. But there is no back straightaway. There is no front straightaway, essentially, because there's no 4 turns. This track is different as far as geography is concerned every step of the way. And here, yeah, we definitely have some pitters. I'm going to go to the high lane around Johnny Benson and see if we can work ourselves around there. Oh, spin in front, Matt Kenseth into the wall. Brandon may have had something to do with that. If the AI slammed on their brakes to get down to pit road speed, that is not good. All right, so we're 13 laps away. Caution may take us to lap 10. If we pit now and then might top off, we might be able to stretch it. So that is the proposed plan for now. I'll be right back with you for pit stops, and we should be pitting this time. So I'll see you shortly. Coming down pit road now, 4 tires and fuel is the call. We'll follow Brandon here, 4,000 in second. Our pit stall is halfway down pit road, right next to this scoring pylon right over here. We'll cross the finish line there, and let's start looking to our left. There's our boys on the wall. Brandon is the stall right in front of us. So we've got pretty clean entry. We didn't have to jostle around each other, and that makes for a smooth stop. So we are going to fill up as much as we possibly can and ride the clutch all the way around during this yellow to see if we can squeeze just a few more laps out of this tank. We will rejoin the race and then take a look and see when we can top off here.
One to go right here.
All right, with one more lap to green, this is our time to come in and top off. There'll be 9 laps to go when we take the green, 10 laps for a maximum tank. So let's top off. We've got 2 cans selected. We're going to change all 4 tires again because with 4X tire wear, I want to make sure that we absolutely have all the tires we need, as well as repairing the damage. We're not trying to beat anyone off of pit road, so there's real no rush. 2 minutes or so, a caution lap around here, so there's plenty of time to do the repairs that we so need and desire. But we'll get back out on the racetrack with a full tank, clutch it in, and see how we fare on the restart.
I'll call the green there. Nice first hit.
All right, coming back to green, the old adage goes, we're in a hole, we just have to dig ourselves out. That is what Brandon and I have done. We are going to come down to 9 laps to go with 10 laps in the tank. If we race conservatively now and roll out of the turns early, get to the gas just a little bit later, I believe that was the only time that we need to come down pit road halfway through the race now, and our bet is made. If it stays green the rest of the way, all of those cars that pitted early will have to come back down again, so we will make up those positions very easily. The only question is, how many cars are on our strategy? So Brandon and I are going to run fairly conservatively on these first laps. If the opportunity presents itself to pass some of these slower cars, we will do it, but we are not in the business of racing as of yet. We are going to try to snooker this one out on fuel mileage as best we can. So rolling out of turn 3 nice and early, we will get onto the gas nice and late, saving our tires as well, so if we do need to go for broke on the last restart or what have you, we will have a little bit fresher tires than those around us. Right now it's saying we need a splash of fuel, so we are right on that cusp. So we need to be a little bit more conservative. We need to make sure that we are not getting to the gas full out 100% in the middle of the turns, just basically save every corner that we possibly can. Single file now, looking at the Bell South car of Kenny Irwin, who has made the race today. Good to see Kenny out there. And he's trying to jostle for position here. If a caution were to come out, the question would be, do we top off? Since we're back here anyway, do we just get 4 tires and then go for broke? Or do we try to stay out and pass these cars in front of us that would come down? Of course, strategy is going to be a big thing. Let's go under Brandon here, see if we can get a run on him. Shouldn't be doing that trying to save fuel, but right now it's recommending none, so we're doing the right thing. We're staying right on that ragged edge of fuel. Dropping back off the turn now, and you can still see those cars in front of us, so even though we're running 75% throttle, we can maintain these cars in front of us, so if they do pit a second time, which I believe they will have to, then we can just cruise by them really easy. We just have to keep a close eye on when they decide to pit. We do not want another bunch going down pit road and then getting ourselves screwed over in the grand scheme of things here. Let's see if with 7 laps to go these cars start to come in. That would be splitting the race into thirds as we intended. A few cars are looking to come down pit road here. We will make up those positions fairly easy, staying on the racetrack, and it's still recommending none. So we could push if we wanted to, but we'll be a little bit more conservative here as I go under Brandon and see if we can catch up to the main group here. Now they still have to pit one more time, fingers crossed, so I believe we'll be okay. Side by side, you know what? I'll just let Brandon go here. We're still trying to save just a little bit of gas, insurance gas if you will. No green-white checkers in this game, so we don't have to prepare for multiple lap restarts, which would definitely bite our strategy in two if there was a late race caution, but I think we're doing well. It's Still recommending a splash, but when the leaders come around this time and that lap count drops by 1, we'll go back to none. A bunch of cars on pit road here will mind our P's and Q's, stay to the outside, and it looks like it's just me and Brandon on the track now. Fuel level is recommended none. That gives me the good warm and fuzzy. 5 laps to go. Let's see if we have enough in the tank. It says I have 6 laps. I'll try to put a little bit of pressure on Brandon, see if I can get him to run his fuel a little bit more hard than we've been running. Although since he pitted at the exact same time as us, what it really comes down to is the weight of his right foot versus the weight of our left foot. Through turn 2, we can coast this one nice and easy, maintaining our gap here, and that's really what we want to do until 2 or even the white flag to go, is just stay within striking distance if we can. Through turn 3, we'll be coming around to 4 laps to go, and I believe everyone who is going to pit has pitted. It still recommends just a splash though, so we're still on that ragged edge. I do not want to see that fuel pressure gauge drop, but back to none. So we've got an extra lap cushion according to the engineer. Although that guy's been wrong before, I don't know if we're going to run out on the last lap or not, which our gap may be in the upper 22nd range or so. So if we run out of gas, we only have a little bit of breathing room to coast if we were to coast, say, off of turn 3. Right, through turn 2 now. I think I've got turn 2 a little bit better than Brandon here. We can close up just a bit. Turn 3, always dangerous, but not as dangerous when you're trying to save fuel. We can roll out right here nice and early and come down to 3 laps to go. Brandon's picking that second groove. May prove beneficial for us in the future if he continues that groove. We're pushing a little bit off the turn. The tires are not as good as those cars behind us by a long shot, but recommending none as soon as we cross the line. It looks like we have a lap to a lap and a half cushion if I were to bet how much fuel is in this thing. If we can stay +1 the whole way through, I'll feel good about going as hard as I can on the last lap to see if we can close that gap. I'm happy with second, but not content, especially this close within striking distance. The engine's starting to pick up some heat here, but I believe 2 laps will be fine, although I don't know if in the game's code running a high temperature increases the amount of wear. Oh, Brandon slows way down for turn 3. We're pretty much within striking distance here. Let's see if we can get to the bottom and try to get good bite. Nope, the car is trying to push. We're staying on the bottom here, side by side. Brandon gets that drive off. We'll settle in behind him and see if we can draft him up. Save just a touch more fuel with 2 laps to go. A mere 5 miles to the finish. Is there 5 miles in the tank? That is the question. Turn 1 seems okay. We're not pushing out. As I say that, we hit the wall. Let's try not to do that next time around, because next time is for all the marbles here. We can't afford to hit the wall and give Brandon the win here. Let's roll out nice and early for Indianapolis. We'll cut the bottom here. We'll maintain. And let's see if we can gain some in turn 3 here. We have a little bit to gain on, and I need to really be on his deck lid if I'm to get the drafting help here. He does push wide, and it looks like his car is starting to fade. That may prove useful coming up. Good drive off. We stay clean of the wall, and let's settle in. White flag is in the air for Brandon and me. And then it's just a question of, do we have enough gas? Is that 2 laps going to drop to 1 or 0? It's recommending none, but it may be by a splash by the time we get around. There you go. It's recommending a splash of fuel, but we are not stopping. Hard turning. We're both in the wall. The car at this point has given up. We need to see if we can bring it back home. We're not in danger of being passed for 3rd, however, so let's get as close as we can here through Indianapolis and set them up for a last turn pass. This is what it's all about. Drive on the bottom. I can't quite get my nose under him. Let's see if we can outbrake him here. We're a little bit faster. He's pushing up. This is our chance. If the car can just bite, we're going to get him. It's holding the bottom. Do we have the momentum? I can see him in the mirror. We cleared him, and there's the finish. Win number 3 of the year for us. We only led 1 lap, and it wasn't even a lap. That was just the last few hundred feet. But it was the last few hundred feet that mattered. Outstanding. So, if I'm honest, I wasn't looking forward to Pocono. It's a track that, you never really feel too comfortable with. There's always some part of the track that gives you a hard time, but we pulled it out on the end thanks to the ye-old strategy. And I'll take bonus points in the championship for sure, fuel mileage or not. Yeah, we can see that fuel gauge starting to drop. The fuel pressure gauge is off of 9 pounds, and it's almost down to 6, so we might have been able to run 1 more lap, but that would have been it. We timed that perfectly. If the caution was 1 lap earlier, we might not have had enough, and if we didn't come in and top off, then we definitely would not have had enough to finish this race out. But let's get the fans something that they want and desire. We've got enough fuel in this thing to do a few donuts then, shall we? Perhaps a burnout or 2. It's a great feeling to be winning at Pocono the 3rd time this season. We have won, and we won on 1.5 tracks before. We won on Kansas and, let's see, where else did we win? I forgot. Was it Texas? Yeah, so we won at Texas and we won at Kansas. So this is the first track longer than 1.5 miles that we've won, and we still haven't won on a short track. So the bigger tracks are our bread and butter if fuel mileage goes our way. Let's go ahead and pull into our pit stall here and watch that last lap and see if we can visually see where I might have caught him. I know turn 1 was a travesty. There's the final standings. Looks like most everyone was on the lead lap there. But coming down to the white flag, here we come. So I'm behind Brandon here, full throttle down into turn 1, and this is where we both pushed up, and I had my wheel hard left. Like, I could not get any more out of that car. I picked up the gas way too early. I was looking too overzealous, and we both hit the wall, which helped me stay within touch. If Brandon got clear of that wall without touching it, I don't think we would have been close enough to make the move. Looking down at Indianapolis, we definitely had the lower lane, and we were able to get below him, but not exactly under him until this point here. We get to the braking zone. I hold the bottom. Brandon drifts up, and right there he gets out of the groove. He's struggling to ring it back in, and we get the drive off right there from center off, and we're able to continue that momentum forward. Had this been any other lap, then Brandon may have got us there on corner exit. But let's take a look at the standings as they are now. Brandon has 4 wins on the season. I've moved up into second with 3. Earnhardt, Gordon, Stewart with 2. Jarrett with 1. And a lot of points have been gained. Dale Jr. and Matt Kenseth are tied for the transfer spot, but that's okay because Ryan Newman is 66 points back. And Johnny Benson has clawed himself back up into the top 20, passing old Brett Bodine. But that is going to do it from me and this episode, ladies and gentlemen. It was a fun one, for sure. But like, share, and subscribe if you are so bold. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next week on the track. Take care.